going on? And welcome back to the A Show with the Kings of Pro Wrestling Podcast. I am Justin, here with Meelz. Oh man, I almost choked. What's up, Meelz?
Well, hopefully, I'm not going to do anything. I'm good. How's everybody doing?
Doing good. We are talking from the past to the future.
This
So
is hopefully, unless you're listening to this on Patreon, which why wouldn't you be? It's only $5 to get the show early.
yeah, pretty much.
Get a premium experience. You might start having to put the hi-fi files on Patreon. Hear us in Dolby Atmos. You know what I'm saying? High
Lossless.
fidelity.
You want to hear me in lossless?
Right? Hear all the police sirens. Hear with a lady screaming across the street. Who doesn't want to hear that?
Lossless audio. How you feeling, Meelz? How you feeling? I guess talking from the future to the past, this could either age terribly or age very well, but I want to do it anyway because I feel like.
So here's my thing. Because there was a year where everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. I'm like, we'll see what happens. But I'm kind of like confident that we'll walk out with someone who I voted for as the winner today.
Good. I mean, I too.
Did you vote? Did you get to vote today?
No, I did mail in. I did mail in on Saturday.
Oh, look at you. Okay, mail in. You know, the crooks out there, they got Team Rocket out there sabotaging everybody's ballots and shit.
I got the text already that said that my shit went through, so we good.
Okay.
So like I'll be real. I just want to tell the voting story that I had. I think
okay. Talk about it.
I think that 6 months ago I was pretty publicly on record saying that I just wasn't going to vote at all. You know what I mean? And I think that I like to watch Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. It's a great show.
Okay.
He had a segment on Project 2025 back in like July, I think. And as much as it begrudged me to have to admit what was at stake and my place in it, I had to call my wife and say, babe, I know that we were kind of like against this, but like we're gonna have to like make a move. You know what I mean? We're gonna have to do this because we can't let this happen. And it was the most terrible feeling because I didn't want to vote for Joe Biden again. You know what I'm saying? Like it just wasn't. It just didn't feel like the best move for.
Nah, he was a corpse.
Yeah, like he was literally walking dead, and I think that we felt. I think that what happened. It was the assassination attempt. The unaliving attempt. Well, I'm not gonna say that. Unaliving is such a whack term. I hate unaliving.
Well, you know what? It's a new day and age. You can't really say certain words. Certain words are trigger words on the internet now. So now we say unalive and we say S-aid and we say ninjas.
I'ma kill you. I'ma kill you, nigga. That's
oh my god.
But no, I think there everybody was like, what the twist was. Here's the twist, right?
Talk about it.
When that happened, everybody was like, it's over with. And I was kind of skeptical. I was like, you know why I was skeptical? Because there were so many people that were online spitting the same rhetoric that his own cult would. And you know what that rhetoric was? There was like thousands of people that I saw that day saying it was fake. And I was like, oh, I don't think this is gonna go the way that he thinks it's gonna go. Even if it was real, there were people who were saying it was fake and it was staged. So like, and then a week passed and nothing changed with his numbers. Like he was still, and is still deeply disliked. Probably even more so at this point. And I think that like an assassination attempt actually did not help. And then, Kamala entered the race. And I think, you know what it was? Like she entered with so much swag that it's kind of hard to like turn it down. You know what I mean? She entered and it was almost like
she's like Kamala's like the principal at your school who's like she cool she has her moments, you know what I'm saying? Where you're like, I don't really like this principal. Then you have other moments where you're like, you know what? There's a reason why she has this job.
Yeah, she looked like she go get drinks after school. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
Oh, she got a big sweet tooth, man. And she can cook. And all these are the things that don't make a great politician. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing about her politics. But the fact that I can kind of like see her as a relatable human being that isn't someone who seems clearly out for self and obsessed with like greed and kind of like criminals and doesn't really care about the rights of the people in the nation that he represents is just enough for me. It's literally my thing is that, sorry to cut you off by the way, but I'm just like, low key, this should be like the bare minimum candidate. And
Yeah.
like for the last number of elections, we've gotten Hillary. Hillary is just not people friendly. Like people ain't fuck with Hillary.
We ain't fuck with her, but we was kind of going along with it. I think there was like,
Yeah.
we just going along, but there was no enthusiasm.
Remember Mary J. Blige singing?
Yeah, singing fucking Big Mac
If
song.
I was a gun. I was like, why is Mary J. Blige hosting an Apple Music related show with Hillary Clinton? And then Hillary went to Black Girls Rock. And they showed the video. They showed a picture of the stage looking back at her, and no one is feeling her.
Yeah, like, no one really felt her, and I think that it falls on it really falls on just the swagger and the momentum and the enthusiasm. Like I said, a lot of people are using enthusiasm, and I think there was an enthusiasm that was it was infectious, and it is infectious. And I think that there's just so much that is at stake. And obviously, if you're listening to this today, hopefully you guys have secured your way of voting. And if you're listening to this on Wednesday,
do you think we'll know by the time this episode comes out on public? Because last time it was like we had to wait like 4 or 5 days.
Well, you know why we had to wait? We're not in a pandemic anymore.
Right?
We're not waiting till Saturday to
Right.
find out. And 4 years ago, I was up till 2 a.m. every day, out of fear. Like me and my friend Pat were just like,
what's my man's name on CNN?
Ooh, Don Lemon.
all them niggas who's doing the forecast. Like I love, that's my favorite thing about election night is the little map shit. It's like, well, if he takes here,
Yeah.
you'll see. And they're trying out all the technology, the AR and VR shit.
It's like, I don't think that because I think the thing is like some principalities would be fast, like Georgia, Virginia, a couple places will be fast. But I think that like ultimately, and I had to tell my friend this too. I had to tell them too, just because of the fear, the inherent fear that people have. And I understand that. I'm not going to take away anyone's fear. You know what I'm saying? I think the best way that I can assuage those fears is to hit you with some facts and just say, first off, and this goes to you too, Meelz. We did everything that we could.
We did everything that we could.
Did everything that we could. We placed our vote. I would have the thing is, I live in California, so there's not really doors for me to knock on, because there will be like, nigga, you're in California, but like, we did, and you're in New York, so like, there's not many doors for us to knock on or campaign for. But like, me and you did everything that we could from where we're at. So that's number one. Whoever voted, you know what I'm saying, and they want, I mean, fuck it. I already said this last week. I'm not going for fascists. We're going for Kamala here. So like, whoever voted for Kamala, you did everything you could. If you did go out and canvass and campaign and stuff like that, that's even better. You did everything that you could. Number one, right?
Okay.
Over 74 million people voted early before it shut down on Sunday in most places, right? Most counties.
I'm gonna keep it a buck. I feel like most people who voted early, I know who they voting for.
Yes, so that's number one. Early voting, it did trend. It was a little even, but the thing is that it's the amount of people who came out. So 74 million people did. They're saying almost 60% of the people who voted were women. So guess who they may have been voting for, and it really is women who are going to bail us out of this, and which is disappointing in terms of men just not showing up. You know what I mean? But so women voting. 2, this motherfucker has never won the popular vote. What makes you think he will win the popular vote this time if he's never won it in the past 8 years? That's just simple and plain. He's never won the popular vote, Meelz, ever.
Right.
Ever. Okay. That's 2. 3, it would have to be a complete miracle. Everyone would have to shut down and just like all the voting places in the world would just have to shut down right now for him to clear the gap and close the gap on the swing states that he is already marginally losing or nearly, it's a toss-up losing, which I think will come out with. If she wins Georgia and North Carolina, it's over. If she wins PA, it's fucking over. But we'll probably know if she had won Georgia and Virginia earlier in the night. They're saying she's winning Iowa, Meelz. Iowa.
Come on now.
That's just
Come on,
scary.
Iowa.
That's just scare niggas in terms of just how crazy this shit might be come 4:00 my time, 7:00 your time tonight, right? So
Mm-hmm.
in terms of, all of those, to put that in perspective, the facts are the facts. She just has the momentum right now. And from what we know about momentum, it carries because it's the same type of momentum that, ironically, he had in 2016, where he was winning states that Hillary Clinton should have been winning. So that just shows you right now. Reverse
Listen,
2016 is in effect. That's all I'm going to say.
let's hope for the best. Let's not have to come. I don't remember if we weren't doing a podcast then, but I remember doing Two Belts the day of when he the week when he won in 2016, and it was also Carlos's birthday that day, so it was really terrible. It was just somber, so I can't imagine that happening again, to be honest with you.
He is
But
deeply, deeply, deeply disliked, even more so when his campaign is run on taking rights away from people of color and women. So, like, if you could think of the most popular things to run a campaign on, he is running against those things.
no,
So
for sure,
they think about it in that sense too.
easily. Well,
Like, just again, I'm not taking away anyone's fears. I'm just here as your friend, Justin. I'm here as your friend to tell you,
political correspondent.
yeah, that too. I've been looking at the polls. The polls are bullshit. Okay, they're bullshit. I think the only time they've actually kind of been mostly correct is when the Iowa poll came out last weekend, and niggas said, "Oh, it's gonna be worse than we thought in terms of how he's gonna get belt the ass." All right, so go to sleep. Don't watch any coverage. Well, you can't watch NXT tonight, but watch
No,
some.
you can't. I mean, which is for good reason, to be honest with you. I feel like, listen, no sports, no wrestling, no excuses. Get your ass out there.
Yes, you have no fucking excuse. You have no excuse not to do so.
Nothing is on today unless you want to watch hockey or some bullshit like that.
Yeah,
But
like
literally nothing is on.
nothing's on, and go out to eat. You know what I'm saying? Oh, they might have they might be playing on TV there. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Watch a movie. I
Yeah,
don't know.
something. I don't know. Let me ask you this question since you texted me about this. All right,
Mhm.
so Pokemon TCG Pocket. How
Yeah.
have you been? You've downloaded it or replaying it? What's going on? I don't have your friend code. I'm kind of like, I didn't think you were playing because I didn't have your friend
I
code.
didn't know you had it. I didn't know that you were playing it. I don't go on Twitter like that much. Like when I see your tweets and stuff, it's because it shows up on my For You. Like I don't
Well,
like go on Twitter like that anymore. I
I
told
feel
you.
like that's everyone's experience at this point.
Yeah, I told you.
Um,
I think I said this on the Black Print. I said I think like January 1st, I'm like not gonna be on Twitter anymore. I think I'm done with Twitter.
what is that? All right, well, yeah. It is what it is. It's no loss at this point.
I will give you
Twitter.
my friend code. I will send my friend code to you. Okay. I will
Okay,
send.
yeah. Please send the friend code. Come on.
I need your
Um,
dick pics.
I need. So, have you seen? First of all, can I just say my early thoughts about this game? As soon as I opened it, I was like, I hate the UI, the user experience, just entirely because I knew it was the same as Pokemon Home, and I hate Pokemon Home's user experience
Well,
because
I think coming from games like I played Snap a lot, Marvel Snap a lot this year.
okay,
Especially in the first quarter. I probably like between mobile and PC, I probably put into a little bit over 100 hours into that game.
why
And
can't I just get friends codes from my contacts? Like this is so weird.
I know it's the Nintendo thing. I started shivering when you first opened the game. It asked you to link your Nintendo account, and I was like, ugh.
Bruh, I was just like, this is so. I was like, I'm whatever.
I linked it to my Apple account. I was like, no, I don't want to be connected with anything with that shitty ass. So like I think coming from games like Snap that have really like non-user friendly UIs, like you haven't seen non-friendly until you played like Marvel Snap. Like that is a game that freezes, it shuts down, like it crashes all the time. It's not built for iOS. I will say, in terms of just playing like a TCG or a digital TCG like this, it is way more stable than anything I've played. So like I'll give it that. It is stable and it fucking works.
This gonna take up so much space on the phone though. Like I know it is. Like the thing about Pokemon Home is like every time you log in, it asks, "Hey, do you have 256 more megabytes of space? Because we need to download some shit."
Yeah, the new event came out today. They needed an
They're
update.
like, "I know you got 431
But
megabytes."
what I love about it is that even if I have issues with Pokemon as a game series right now, I have
Yeah.
always loved the TCG. I've always loved the card game. The card game has always been rewarding to me, and I've always liked it even when I was a kid. And I had the physical. I played the physical version of the card game when I was a kid. Um, and so like having that back is like really cool in my life. Like I really miss this game. So like I'm right back at it. Like I'm playing the Game Boy Color version of the card game. Remember that they had the Game Boy Color version of the TCG?
I did, but I've never actually battled.
It
I
was
just I just collected the cards, and
it was
that's still what I'm doing.
it was fantastic. Like I loved that game so much. So like it takes me back to that. But also just like I love the card acquisition. I love that like it really has a sense of like collecting and stuff like that. And again, it's like if there's one thing that Pokemon's good at, it's fucking making sure that you have FOMO from not being able to get everything and stuff like
Yeah, they got good branding, bro. Pokemon has fantastic branding. Like they will never go broke.
that. Mm-mm.
Is what I'm saying. Like they have gone into they're like in the upper echelon of like they're getting close to like the Disneys and all these other things. Like I don't want to say close to Disney because it's not like they own like a bunch of like things, but as a for a brand to be this strong 30 years later
Yeah.
and still be selling this many games, selling much, and a part of it is because they don't include themselves within they don't include themselves as a normal Nintendo game because it's a Pokemon ecosystem. So like this game getting 12 million downloads in like the first day or first week or whatever the fuck it was, like incredible. Um no, I've been enjoying it. I'm a firm believer of the bent thing that's not real.
It's not real,
But
no.
yeah, but I need something to believe in.
That's almost like remember back in the day, if you hold up B, you get the Pokemon. That was the old man.
But sometimes it hit, and
Yeah,
you're like, I'm good. If I didn't do it, it might not have been.
hold up B with a great ball, and you could get Mewtwo if you just do that. It's easy. I'm like, yes, as if they would just do that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they included a bunch of other ridiculous bugs in the first edition of the game, so why would I not believe that?
This ain't
Missing
missing.
Go,
Yeah, this ain't missing go, nigga. Like,
missing no, yeah, missing no is like legendary. Like they should actually make it a Pokemon. But
they're
well,
not
listen,
have fun like that to do anything cool.
no, they're not. The leaks thing. I talked about it I found Pat and we talked about it on the podcast.
He's not hard to find. He lives 15 minutes away from me. I could have.
I know, but I hadn't talked to Pat. We hadn't done a Pokemon episode in like 18 months. So yeah, we found it. Talked about it. It's fun. I gotta see if he's playing this. Um,
He needs. Let me tell you about something about Pat. He needs one less thing to be addicted to. So he should not play this.
okay, okay. Word to the wise. All right, so I won't hit him up about it. Um, what else is out there? Eh,
Nothing.
not much.
Oh,
Yeah,
and again, we got a lot to talk about in the wrestling world. A lot of things that have happened. Some really like tragic, really really sucky things have happened as well. I guess we could get to that now. There were a few releases over the weekend. I think it was Friday.
it was
Uh,
Friday for sure.
Friday
If you
where
weren't Saudi, I don't know what to tell you.
yeah, pretty much. It was announced that Baron Corbin, Indi Hartwell. There was one more.
Tegan Nox.
Tegan Nox. There you go. Those three were let go from WWE. Uh,
We got to do the release post mortem. That's what we
yeah.
got to do now. We got to talk about their careers, their retrospectives. Where
Where do
did
we
it go
start?
wrong, or where did it have been wrong, or was this a great decision, or wasn't it a great decision?
Where do we start? I think. I mean, I guess we started. Like, I guess we could start at Indi Hartwell, who again, this was really kind of one of their younger prospects. She is, I think she's like barely 22.
Nah, she's got to be older than 22. She's been in WWE for like
Oh
7
yeah,
years.
she's been there for 5 years.
She's 28. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
28.
She is not even at her peak yet. Um,
She sure isn't. I'll tell you that.
like she Indy was
I wasn't.
Indy was a perennial kind of like NXT gal. She had been in NXT for quite some time.
If she was a Pokemon, she'd be a normal type. Like that's what it is for me with Indi Hartwell. Like I like Indy, but Indy is not like Indy didn't jump off the page. You know what I'm saying? At any moment ever. Um, I think she was cool, kind of like being very very low key about things and stuff like that. And I don't know. To me, it was like it's not that I wasn't shocked by the release, but I can see why this decision was made.
Yeah, I can see why it was made too. I kind of like raised my eyebrow when I saw that like Candice was the focal point of the new storyline that she's in and not Indy at all. And I was like, yeah, something's up with this. Um, and again, like she was one of their younger prospects, and I think that they called her up. I'm gonna be real. I feel like they called her up too early, or but the thing is like, what is too early?
Yeah, that's what I'm
There for a
saying. She had 4 years in NXT.
She'd been there for a long time. I don't think she necessarily had done too much without Candice even. And I think that when you put those two together, it was always Candice that was kind of like doing a lot of the
Well,
work.
well, she was out when Candice was having a baby. Um, she did, and I think that's what led her to her NXT title reign, which was again, this was the one opportunity to kind of like show yourself, and then I think she gets injured, and it's kind of like a dunzo from there. Um, but to me, she never really showed any stark improvement in the ring. So it's like the one match I remember this was a good match, and people are gonna shit on Becky for this all the time because they always do shit on Becky. But her match with Becky is the best match she's had in WWE. Just period. Like, and I'm gonna blame that on Becky. But I said if she doesn't hold her weight in this match, I ain't got nothing to say. Because she's been kind of like floating for a very, very, very long time. There's a lot of floaters in WWE, don't get me wrong. But she's been in a women's division that is remarkably strong.
Do you
You
think?
know,
I got a question.
sure.
Do you think Maxine Dupree is better than Indy Hartwell?
Like in ring or just like as the entire
Total
package.
package. Total package. Do you think she was better?
Yeah, I would say she has a genuine way to get people behind her. Even if it is from a standpoint of like, I'm not fully sure how to wrestle yet, and I kind of look like a baby deer with various other things. That's something that people can get behind. I can't remember any time besides the storyline with Loomis that people have decided to get behind Indy Hartwell or hate Indy Hartwell or something. And they tried, remember, because they had the gimmick where Candice was turning heel and Indy was like, I don't want to be a heel. And she was like, you got to be a heel to win. And then she just turns heel and no one cares. Like
Yeah.
there's a to me, I don't know what it is. I can't necessarily say like mic skills and ring skills. I think she just starkly needs to just overall improve her package. Just overall.
Mhm.
I just think she just, you know, she's a nice person, but she's not like
It's not must see. I think
nah.
it's not
Even
must see.
so, Bailey, even in a sense, Bailey has the in ring regimen and all this other stuff like that. Like if there was an evolved form of Indy, it's Bailey. But Bailey is so much more better in the mic, and she's evolved as a character, and she's evolved in ring, and she's done all these other things that make you buy into this. Whereas Indy really hasn't as a performer.
Yeah.
So
So Indy, I could see her landing in TNA with Steph DeLancer whenever Steph gets back from her injury. I think Steph had like a neck injury though. It might be some time.
yeah. It's gonna be some time. Definitely well into 2025.
From what I understand, and this was different, right? Baron was not renewed, right? It was like something contract wise with these.
It had to be, yeah. It,
It,
it
it,
probably had to be. They're probably like, it's looking to re up, and he's like, I got more steaks on the grill,
yeah, like
and I need
Baron.
to afford them.
But I think that he was like was he able to like be picked up now or so like something was up with the contracts where like I think Tegan and Indy were just not were
We're straight up released.
yeah.
Well, Tegan might have been, we're not renewing your contract as well. We don't know much about Tegan at all, but I think with Baron, I think they chose not to pick up their contract, and I can see why. Again, I see Baron as something. We'll talk about Bobby in a bit.
Let's get to Tegan. Let's get to
Oh,
Tegan.
you want to get to Tegan first?
Yeah, let's get to Tegan because I think Baron's kind of like he's had a bigger career than both of them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be real. Like the Tegan one is something that was kind of written in the stars in a lot of ways. No, like I think Tegan was drafted and she never showed up. She had like that one kind of. And I'm gonna be real. I thought that Tegan had kind of like the worst of the matches that Becky was having with those girls last year. Like
Right.
I didn't think I wasn't super impressed by that one at all.
It felt like she was going to be sent to. I felt like there was some even rumors that she was going to be sent to NXT at some point, and
Yeah,
that even never came to fruition. So
yeah.
it's like if that can't even happen, I'm surprised if anything else is going to happen. But to be honest with you, I could sense there's probably a lot of frustration with her just in general, um, because from the outside looking in, it looks like WWE just gave up on her. Like,
And it's a shame because I wouldn't be shocked if she didn't get labeled as kind of like injury prone from
yeah.
having those two big injuries, from in the offset of her career, then going up to the main roster, not really doing much, being released the first time, and then coming back. And I felt like when she came back, she was reintroduced in much the same way that everybody else was reintroduced when they got rehired back in 2022.
Hmm.
And I think that there wasn't much of like a pickup there with her when she was reintroduced. She did a lot of stuff with Natalia that never really picked up. Which I mean, again, it's with Natalia. Like, how are you expected to get over when you're with Natalia? But a lot of
I
the stuff
mean, Natalia's done. I wouldn't say
it's
she done miracles, but she does something.
she eh.
She at least you're like, okay, Natalia's probably like, let's try her out. Let's figure her out or something. Her last match was in April on the main roster. Like
There it is.
legitimately April.
I just felt
And
like there was like no character. I can't really think of like a memorable promo when she was given mic time or promo time.
she
Um,
ever given Mike time?
Yeah, she got mic time. She got backstage promos and things like that. There was like a sense that she was gonna go. She especially got mic time in NXT when she went back down last year. So like it's just a shame that we don't have much more to say about her than we would like with Indy. But like even if she went to NXT Meelz, I'm gonna be real. There's probably 4 women down there right now that are better than her, and she can't coast off like main roster name because there's
Right.
there's people in NXT who are bigger than her.
But I think, I mean, as someone, I think on NXT. But here's the thing: Baron also went down to NXT, and I ain't really he in the same spot. That it is what it is. The NXT
He
isn't.
turned niggas up when he went back though.
Right, but it's clear now from that's not a saving factor at all. Like Ali went to NXT and he also got released. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so many things. I think people feel like the NXT route is something that to rehabilitate your career, and I think it happened with Finn. But I also think that they wanted it to happen with Finn. Um, I think they wanted him to have like a genuine break from the main roster and all of that other stuff like that. Whereas other people, it's legitimately like, we don't really have anything for you. So if you want to go wrestle in NXT, feel free. And I think with Mi Chin that worked this year. Um, she's like, I think she found kind of her niche working there as opposed to being part of the club or tagging with Zelina. I don't know if it would have worked for Tegan Nox other than just kind of being someone who's more further along, well experienced that could be able to work with the girls who aren't as experienced.
Yeah, they're
And
just if honestly with both of the women, like if I had to choose between Julia or Steph or you know
and that's also a thing, right? Like
yeah,
they're coming
Jada,
in.
yeah, like the some for in order for these women to go and honestly in order for there to be room for a Rocks to come up, some of these people have to get shuffled around in some way, shape, or form. And like
Yeah.
to me, Rocks is worth 4. You know what I'm saying? In terms of depth, because of what she provides and what she brings. Like she's been ready to go. You know what I mean? But you don't want her to get lost in the shuffle like Lyra. Like that's like a huge star that you're bringing up, and it's a shame. But going to Baron Corbin, Baron had been around for a long time. I would say like the fact that he survived the top of the indie era of NXT Black and Gold back when Hideo Itami and Finn Balor and Neville and Kevin Owens, the same, were all on the same show. It is a shock that he was the same guy. I mean, he coined the famous term to Apollo Crews, "Go back to ROH." Like he was
Yeah.
the guy back in the day. And if I could
But
say,
his
I'm sorry,
go
go ahead.
ahead. No. Finish what you were saying. I have a kind of take about Baron and his career.
If I could say anything about Baron, is that he is nothing if not consistent. Consistently heel for over 90% of his fucking career in the
Yeah.
WWE. And you always knew what you were going to get. And win or lose, it always kind of meant something when you beat him because of how good he was at being a heel.
I think his career was very largely, and maybe to his detriment now, molded by Vince
Yeah.
and what he expected out of that the character that it became just no longer fit in the kind of WWE that it is now. I think he's so much like, you look at what he was when he came in. Like when Baron came in, he was a badass, like leather jacket thing, finished people very, very fast. And then suddenly he changed into this very talkative heel. I'm bald. I'm a constable. I have like now he's a king. Now he's broke. Like the various isms, Vince isms of like someone through his career is like, how can we make them hate you? And I don't think that question was probably ever asked in the Triple H era of like, what can we do with Baron? How can we make people hate Baron more, like Baron more? So I legitimately feel like H didn't really have anything for him at all, and that's why he got sent to NXT. And then he came up, and there was still equally nothing for him. But I think that's a
He at least got
little bit of a disservice, though.
he at least got on TV. I wouldn't even say it was nothing. He was on TV.
No, he was on TV for sure. He was utilized, but I think there's nothing in a role where you have a new baby face that's probably coming up that you could probably like, okay, let's put him against Baron because Baron's always going to get heat. That didn't really happen. Low-key, the Madcap Moss shit was was the end of his story. Happy Corbin, the end. There's nothing there was no recovery from Happy Corbin.
And Happy Corbin is like happy. Well, he was way too happy for way too long. But
Yeah,
like,
but that's also a Vince. That's such a Vince gimmick, though.
I mean, just fucking like Constable Corbin. That went too long. Like he was Vince's go-to heel in much the same way that like he creates these heels like JBL that
Mm-hmm.
that long outlive their shelf life. But when you beat them, it means something. Like I'm not gonna act like when Drew beat him and kicked out of the End of Days at Mania
Yeah,
in Dallas, that niggas didn't go crazy. That was a huge moment, and I'm
no, it
pretty
was.
a huge moment for his career too, because that was a huge reaction for him. Wrestling Pat McAfee, like Baron got a lot, and I think that he got a lot out of wrestling. And I think that like I'm not gonna say never say never. Like I'm not gonna say he just feels like he fits there, but like he just feels like he fits in that regime. And like I
And not this one.
well, I mean, like in the company in terms of just being like a Hall of Famer or like a fucking like a
Right, right.
person of interest that they call every so often. But what if wrestling just like he even said it online? He was like, they didn't fumble me. I had a great career, and they gave me a great life. Like I don't see him saying anything bad about this company at
No,
all.
he can. Yeah, he's been rich among beyond his wildest dreams because of it.
And
I think it's just transformed so much about him. Yeah,
I don't want to see niggas say he should have won a world title because he shouldn't have.
nah.
he should not have won a world title.
He probably was close at some point. Maybe he was, but like, because he controlled Raw for a long ass time. That Constable Corbin shit was like, we were there. Like,
Yeah, we started with it. That's the era we started in. But again, it's like he lost the Money in the Bank briefcase and he still got pushed. Not many people do that. You know what I'm
he
saying?
became
Like,
king for an entire year.
yes, like King Corbin was a thing. Like he always, if not anything, for the past 8 years, he always has something to do. And I think that's a great career. Like sometimes people, again, people shelf lives they have to go. And
I think it is definitely a case of a shelf life kind of like really being up. I think if he chooses to wrestle again, he's gonna have to really kind of like reinvent himself in a very cool way, which I think he, in a way, he did in NXT. From an in ring standpoint, I think there was so much like before he entered NXT, there was so much like he still had that stink of all those gimmicks, and he did his best to kind of like shed it by just being a normal cool dude. He was just like cool dude Corbin. But yeah, it's just time. I think it's just time. You
Yeah.
know, I just think it's time.
It was time. And speaking of NXT, they will be in the ECW arena this week, the old ECW arena. Some pretty crazy stuff they're doing on there. Bubba Ray.
Bubba
Again,
Ray, bro, come on, man.
Bubba Ray and Trick Williams.
Is this the only? Are there only 3 people who are not dead from ECW?
Jesus Christ.
I was like, Bubba Ray? Ugh.
This is a pretty stacked show, though. It's almost PLE-ish in nature, and it makes you wonder, like, when they're gonna like slow it down with this
As
show.
much as them tickets cost, it better be, because they hit niggas over the head in that little recreation room. That's the old ECW arena.
We also had one of the best, to me, segments in NXT of the year, which led to the match that we're going to see on Wednesday, which Roxanne Perez, Cora Jade, and Fatal Influence versus Julia, Stephanie Vaquer, Kelani Jordan, and Zarya. And Jordan Grace, sorry. That segment was fucking fire.
Bro, it was amazing. It was incredible.
I was like, this is the. I looked at that and I was like, this is the generation of women that are gonna take over after they're all done up there. You know what I'm saying?
You think they just called Jordan Grace and was like, you want to come in for the next 2 weeks?
Well, she's up. She's up in January, so she's pretty much lame duck in my eyes in terms of her tenure and impact. Like she's gone as early as January, and she probably will be on NXT.
It sounds like a fair trade to me. You know, Baron Corbin. You get Baron Corbin, you get Jordan Grace.
We also get Lola Vice and Jada Parker in a hardcore match with Dawn Marie as the referee. And you also get Javon Evans versus Wes Lee, which should be really good. They've been kind of building to this one for quite some time. That's it. It looks like a fun show post election.
Looks like a fun show. It's going head to head with AEW this week.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel, sir, about the debut of Big Bobby Lashley last week on the show?
It was. I'm going to give some praise here. It was incredibly effective. It was an effective debut. I think they did do some missteps. It is in typical AEW fashion. Who the fuck was MVP calling if he was already in Gorilla?
I believe he was calling Lashley. He was like, "Hey,"
but that's like the example of putting a hat on a hat for this company, right? It's like you.
But I also think he didn't really need it. Like, I don't know.
You didn't need the phone call. Like, who are you calling? You didn't need the phone call. Then they botched the lights going out, and then
because they turned it out and then turned it back on. It was like not that kind of debut. No, we're going to music.
Also, they had already did the lights turn off thing an hour ago on the show with Malachi Black. Like, how many times the light gonna? Who controls the lights in the fucking arena?
Anybody at this point, but he came out very similar music.
Yeah, but there's both songs that they have.
You hear the bum 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 bum.
For one, I can't hear anything on the AEW show. I can't hear shit on AEW because the audio mix is so terrible. So I'm not quite sure what the fuck any of whatever they're saying is, right?
Let me see. Let me check the views on this too. You know how they obsessed with the views now.
It's like 2 million.
Now 1.4.
We slowed down. But I'll say this. I question them having him come out as like acting like a babyface. And I think that Bobby also was guilty of fucking doing this in WWE, where he would come out and he would be acting as if he was a babyface. I'm like, what are you doing? You are a heel. Stop trying to be babyface. Like that's not what we're doing anymore.
They posed for the pyro and the pyro ain't come.
Exactly. The pyro didn't even show up. He posed as if he was a babyface. The fans were cheering him. And I think that's the issue, right, Meelz, is that he is once again positioned as a huge babyface,
but he's supposed to be a heel, and this is kind of the problem of what happened with the Pride. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
we heard some comments earlier in this week. Montez delivered some comments on, speaking of various publications, just kind of like frustrated with all the stop and start of his career. And I'm reading between the lines. People are kind of like blaming WWE for that or blaming Triple H for that. I'm blaming Bobby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they were firmly on WrestleMania. Bobby goes out for an injury, and yeah, they got to stop and stuff like that. But it's just part of the gimmick. But I think once they realized that he wasn't coming back, which I feel like WWE knew pretty quickly, they immediately said, "All right, get rid of the suits, change back into your old clothes, and we'll figure something out for you guys to do." But he's happy. This is what he's wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? He
I think
wanted. Go
I
ahead.
think that hurt. Well, I mean, other than his debut, I don't think Shelton should have lost that fast. I don't think Shelton should have lost that match. I think they could have done something where it didn't end or something like that.
A
I'm like,
non-finish.
yeah, like you built Shelton so big against two of your established guys.
It was actually very uncharacteristic of this company to do that.
Yeah, like it like you built him like he was the next Brock, and then he goes 50-50 with Swerve and doesn't destroy him. Like, doesn't make any sense. So he comes out, the fans are cheering. They are cheering him beating up Swerve. So automatically,
They
you
cheer
know,
anything, bro. They don't know what the fuck they cheering for.
you know how people always say like, "Oh no, they really love these guys in AEW." Like, it's not fake. They really love them. I'm like, I don't know if these people love them as much as people think that they love them, right? Like, or they love
Right.
AEW stars. Like, they are so willing, almost immediately at the drop of a hat, to cheer an ex WWE guy without any provocation. Meelz. They
Yeah,
will.
no, it's really like a Pavlovian. That's what I was like. That's why I said. I mean, exactly when we were in the Discord and we talked about it when the debuts happened. I was like, they don't know what they're cheering for.
Yeah, they think
They're
they're like,
just
oh,
cheering.
cool. Yeah, they're like, oh, cool. It's Bobby Lashley again. He beats him up, puts him in a hurt lock, knocks him out. They beat up everyone, and then MVP says, "We're back in business." And I'm like, well, once again, really good debut. Hat on a hat. You are still referencing shit from other companies and expecting everyone to know what it is.
I mean, if they were to know anything, it would be from WWE and not the other way around. But I
That's true.
think,
That's true. Maybe I wasn't giving him enough credit. So yeah, you're right.
but I think I'm kind of trying to figure out because Bobby doesn't fit in AEW to me. the the and this is not to complete. I think he can be beneficial to AEW, but just from his comments over the last week, he had this interview, this weird quote came out of it where he was pitching this program between him and Gunther, and he is low key gonna have Gunther look like a Nazi so he could come and beat him up, so everyone can call him Gunther fucking racist.
Yeah.
And Bobby would be cool because Bobby's the one who's beating up the racist Gunther. Just not very thought through. He's
Who?
someone who his entire psychology of what wrestling is and how to build a star is Vince McMahon
Mm-hmm.
built.
Mm-hmm.
So him having to contend with that under Tony Khan, whose kind of mindset behind it is very starkly different from that. It's about matches, baby. It's about things. I don't expect Bobby to be working a lot of matches in AEW.
Well,
Not
he's
like not
50.
that he's going to have a long career, but I just think he's not going to agree to a lot. It's going to end up kind of like the Miro thing, low key.
Well, who is he not losing to?
Pick a guy, bro. Who the fuck is he? You can pick anyone on that roster, and he's like, how the hell am I going to lose to him?
Yeah, we about to see the AEW about to lead the league in non finishes with this nigga.
Like, no, dead ass, because it's like either he's supposed to be the final boss. I can't look at anyone on the roster that you figure that he job to right now. Like the
Kenny
top guys.
He should lose to Kenny Omega though.
I think I can't even say he could be presented as a Brock. Brock is different. Like,
I would love people to stop acting like you can just make another Brock.
no, you can't. Brock is Brock is so. I don't think people realize how Brock is like this once in a generation. No, no exaggeration. It has not happened since, and I don't know if it's going to happen again. once in a generation athlete that combines the authenticity of what you think an athlete should look like and should be, along with the skill of what an actual wrestler should be, and the mindset. He's completely different than anybody else, and I don't think you can replicate that with Bobby and AEW as much as they wanted to, as much as maybe they would like to. But I mean, we'll see. I'm more far intrigued with what they do with Shelton Benjamin moving forward because I think he did have a good
He had a
few
good
set of matches.
he had a good 2-week run of being undefeated, and then they said, "Never mind."
Yeah.
I just don't think you mortgage that for like Swerve. Like I think you could do that down the line and with somebody that needed it more than Swerve did. Like Swerve hasn't wrestled in like a month, and it's like it's not like he needed his heat back. He's still like kind of over, but I also feel like they kind of lost the crowd during that match too. Like it felt really quiet to the last stretch. Didn't he just beat him
I'm
with one stomp or some shit?
I'm so interested to see what this match is gonna look like at Full Gear. Like, what does this match look like?
Like garbage truck juice because
Where
Bobby has far outlasted what he could do physically.
after the first 8 matches on the card, what is this match gonna look like? That's what I'm concerned with. But we'll see. We'll see how this goes. Yeah, it's the Hurt Syndicate, you know?
Or the ouch clan. Um,
Crown Jewel happened over the weekend.
yes, it did. Crown Jewel happened. It was a show. I'm gonna be real, not my favorite show of the year, and I think it's probably gonna join last year's show. Uh, in
Luckily,
terms
they
of,
haven't really had a pay-per-view that has really like sold me since what was a great pay-per-view this year? Besides Backlash France. I'm trying to think if there's anything after Backlash France.
yeah.
Clash at the Bash of Berlin. Was Bash of Berlin fire?
Hold on, let's see the schedule. I'm
Bash in
old.
Berlin.
I don't remember. Elimination Chamber was
It was
pretty.
at the top of the year, but that was like at 5 in the morning, and Rhea Ripley faced off against Nia Jax in the main
Yeah,
event.
yeah.
Bash of Berlin was actually kind of cool. Yeah, it had Cody versus
KO.
Kevin,
Yeah.
Bianca versus Unholy Union, CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre in a strap match was just pretty good. Damian Priest, Rhea Ripley versus Judgment Day, which was pretty good, and Randy Orton versus Gunther, which was a technical classic that somehow got less of a star rating than Private Party versus the Young Bucks. But
But,
I don't know.
I thought the Money in the Bank was solid. I thought that did people hate SummerSlam? I can't remember. I feel like
I
people.
was indifferent about SummerSlam.
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah, it was
Um,
fine.
Bad Blood was a great pay per view in my opinion. I remember people hating.
Yeah,
Bad
Bad
Blood
Blood
was
was a great pick. Yeah,
great.
shout out Bad Blood.
Bad Blood was great.
Actually, we'll
Well, I
see
mean,
this
people are
again.
going to talk about they're going to talk about the Rhea match or whatever, but I thought everything minus like the top 2 matches made it a worthy show.
It was a 2-match show.
But those 2 matches were excellent. That's why
No, those 2 matches are excellent. They sure were.
That's why I would recommend it. But I think that Crown Jewel just in general just felt like Triple H said, "I am not shaking anything up this week." Like he just
No,
like he chose not to do anything interesting on this show, and I think it showed. I expected Gunther Cody to be a little bit more epic. It actually probably lesser to me than the KO and the AJ Styles match, considering what these 2 men have done all year.
I feel like Crown Jewel is more about Riyadh than wrestling. It's a little bit more about them. It's all about sending them home happy, making everyone home happy. I don't know if there's been a very prominent Crown Jewel that I'm like, this was nuts. I
Yeah.
hope they come back. No, it's never happened.
I mean, everything that we thought pretty much
But,
like
but Roman went. Well, I guess Roman always goes. I don't know. He went last year.
he went last year. Roman opened the show, Bloodline versus Bloodline match. I thought it was actually really good. Again, it was the first and the last match were probably the best things on the show to me. I thought the storytelling was sound. I think we're kicking into gear. I love the slow burn here. I'll give him this. I love the slow burn here. I love the interplay between the 4 now with Sammy coming back into the fray. Did you start to notice like, oh yeah, that's why they started winding Sammy down on Raw because he's gonna be in this. Like that was my immediate thought. I was like, oh, that's why they started. That's why they winded him down because he's
Yeah, no. You're definitely right. I think just in general, I mean, him being part of this is really, really good. It's weird. Like half the shit is happening on Raw and Roman's on SmackDown, and I don't even envision him coming to Raw. Maybe he will come to Raw. Is he booked for Raw for any
is
time?
he's on every SmackDown until the end of the month.
Okay. Well, I like the angle of they don't have their shit together yet.
Yeah, it's a good angle. It's a good angle, and again, like
Because people complain so much about why this is happening so quickly. Like, why did Jey Uso just forgive Roman? And I was like, you guys are not paying attention at all.
at all. And then the match kind of showed you that he didn't. You know what I'm saying? Even the promo they did on SmackDown showed that he did not forgive him, and he was not forgiven. I think that promo was very very like strong in showing that like Jay is very adamant in not being kind of like the do boy, like you said, for Roman anymore.
Right.
Um, but um, I want people to preemptively not compare this to 2021 2022 Bloodline. That's what I want. I want people to like chill because
It's different. Yeah.
yeah, we will never ever get that again, and I don't think you should hold that against this, which I feel as though has actually picked up in the last 2.5 weeks and is actually good and interesting and intriguing. But don't compare it to the old shit. Like it's never going to be that ever.
But I don't even think this is going to be like a long term thing.
No, it's
Like,
not.
I don't even think it's going to be. I think this happens. This lives, this breathes, it dies at some point. We're going to get Roman versus Solo um, at some point, one on one. And then it'll kind of like maybe break off from there. But I don't expect this to really go the distance as the bloodline. I think this is for the moment. This is kind of like telling the story, and quite clearly, this is a vehicle for kind of like establishing Roman Reigns kind of in a different light
Mhm.
as the face Roman Reigns. We've
Mhm.
seen him as the heel, we've seen him as a dominator, we've seen him as a conqueror, we've seen him as a tribal chief. But what does he look like when, he's a face? And they're telling that story. They're trying to make him, um, you know, trying to build him to like, you know what? He's an honorable tribal chief. He's a kind tribal chief. He's one of those things. So
He's not self-centered. I think there's still that instance of him just being a self-centered prick.
yeah,
Um, and he's still that. I mean, I think
he was
Roman.
looking at them. He was looking at them while they're doing their dance moves, and he was like, "All right, well,
But I'm like Roman. You weren't paying
look at."
attention when they was with you doing that shit because they definitely were doing that.
You looked at Jey Uso while he had his entrance, and they made sure that was a great touch, by the way, to
Yeah,
have Jey Uso come out last. And
because it shows that this is not united. You know what I mean? They're
but
not.
also it shows like he's his own person. Like Jay is not Lil Bro, you know? Jay is fully his own person. Jay is popular too. Jay can stand on his own legs as well. I think
Mhm.
that's a big thing of what it showed. Um, is that when you look at it, this is the first time Roman didn't come out last, and this is the time Roman is getting all the adulation and the cheers and all the other stuff like that.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I'd say he was more over than Roman, at least in that moment.
hey
On
man,
Crown Jewel, but match was solid. I mean, it did feel as house show as you could get in terms of just Roman just chilling for most of the
sure
match.
did.
Once it turned up and got there, I thought it ended really well. The last stretch is really what you're looking out for. Jacob Fatu doing a lot of the work. What did you feel about him here? Like honestly, I felt like Tama Tonga does a lot more for this crew than Jacob does, and I feel like he probably won't get half of the accolades when it's said and done.
Yeah, it's not that I'm not sold because clearly he's a star, but I'm not like thoroughly blown away.
Yeah.
I feel like I should be, or I feel like people should be. I think overall, I think his character work is strong. Um, his dedication to the role that he's in. Well, we're gonna have to tell him stop scamming them damn kids. That's what we're gonna tell him. Stop
I
scamming the charity.
I think I don't want to say this, and I don't want to blame like creative and booking here, but it's like I don't want to say he is who he is yet. Like
Okay.
I don't want to like in terms of like booking. Like I don't want
Okay.
his actual skills. Like I don't want to say that he is who he is quite yet, but it is vociferously trending towards this is kind of who he'll be as a babyface too, or singles too when that time.
Right.
But it's like, how is he going to be different if he's already doing babyface shit that makes people cheer when he's already wrestling? You know, like that to me is the concern there. I mean, especially when I feel like Tama Tonga does a lot more, and Solo's got better character work than he does, and it's just like, how is he going to stand out? And
Well, Solo stepping it up.
He
He
is.
clearly he's stepping it up. I've noticed it a little bit. It's a lot less monotonous, a lot less robotic, a lot less trying to play the role of a tough guy and kind of like leaning into like what makes it his own for himself.
Yeah, like
So
like he dropped some of the weight. I think that was a big thing too. Like he's brolic again, so like he's back to where he was, man.
Roman probably told him some shit.
Oh,
Like, hey man.
as he fucking should have. But um, really like the match. There was the women's tag team championship match was a little chippy to say the
But
least.
I thought it was fun.
It was chippy. There was some confusion there, and I feel like that's what always happens. But I did feel as though there was like a sense that anybody could have won that. Um,
Right.
and I like that about the match as well.
They sent Lash and Shakara back home. They're like, nah, you don't get to come on the European tour.
Shout out to
Not
them.
there.
Man. Shout out to them. I think Lash especially showed her worth here. Lash has definitely showed her worth. Seth Rollins versus Bronson Reed, really quick 12-minute match. We knew this wasn't gonna be over, and as we saw on Raw, it's not over yet.
Yeah.
Liv Morgan and Nia Jax had an overbooked match. They have to stop doing the Tiffy thing. Just stop it. Like,
Yeah. If
I'm
you're
done.
gonna do it, don't do it.
Yes, I'm done with the gimmick, bro. Like I'm good. Don't stop doing the fake out. The fake out shit is it's outlasted its usefulness here. Kevin Owens, Randy Orton. I don't think either of us called it being a no contest.
No, but it didn't even get started. So, but no, I definitely didn't call it for the no contest at all. But I think I was in the kitchen at the time, and it came back and it ended. I was like, God damn,
Yeah,
didn't know that.
Kevin said he might have bruised his ribs or hurt his ribs during the brawl, but he said he's fine. I was shocked that Andrade and Carmelo didn't win the title. I don't really know what they're planning here if they have these guys continue to lose to LA Knight like this.
I think they're rolling with the person who is the most proven in this area. But I do think that Carmelo's time will come soon enough. I feel it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
that was shocking. This is the most shocking thing to me. I was shocked that Cody Rhodes and Gunther wasn't more overbooked, but it ended up being just as it was.
They left some meat on the bone.
Yeah, they beat the shit out of each other. Again, if this is something that only happens once a year,
Yeah.
and stuff like that, then I think that it's fine. I think that there was I don't think I think we both said Gunther was going to win this. I can't remember, but if there was someone to beat Gunther, it probably should be the biggest star on the show. Gunther probably shouldn't be beating Cody yet.
No, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
So Cody wins. They get the big ass belt in the big ass ring, and the belt ain't going to America because they can't get it through customs, and there it is.
There's ceremony. I was like, all right, there's a ceremony coming, and then it's just them putting on a ring and hanging the belt up.
And then I was like, this propaganda. I turned it off when the niggas with the shits came out. I said, I feel dirty watching this.
Yeah, come on, man. The Steve Jobs of Saudi. Come on.
Jesus Christ. Hey, before we go to the shows, how do you feel about this WWE ID thing? That was something else that was announced last week, and
we talked about it. Didn't we talk about it?
Did we?
Did we talk about it?
I don't think we did. I have your notes from last week. Let me look at your notes from last week.
I feel like we did talk about it because everyone made this big stink about it. Or did we?
We did.
Someone came into my Cause
So
someone
now,
talking about mentions fucking weirdo indie whack nigga.
probably listening. He's gonna put you in a front headlock, bro.
Well, shout out for the listens. You won't get the same from me, but it's a. They announced to kind of like follow up on it. They did definitely announce that, like, hey, we're not controlling anyone's independent thing.
Then there's people like they're not getting a livable wage. I'm like, yeah, because they're still working in the indies, bro. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, they didn't hire them. Like, people not reading, bro. Like, at least like
Yeah, I
so
know.
weird. I
I
don't
know.
know.
Let's
It
get to the
is
shows because they were very short, and there's really only one show of note that had anything happen on it this week.
okay.
Now that I think about it.
Let me
So,
see. Let me see what happened. What did happen on these damn shows?
so just an election day special for everybody.
Yeah, free. If you,
Just so you can get to the polls. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Just
get to the polls. Don't even worry about it. You know, the thing. Get to the poll. I mean, even though tomorrow, hopefully,
tomorrow be
um,
fine, bro. Because you know one thing about it is we have to
be
believe.
black.
We have to.
It's-
We have to believe like that there are a lot of people that actually care about their bodily autonomy, and I think that's really what is at stake here. I think that once you threaten people's right to live and right to control their own lives, that's when you're going to get the reactions that we want. And I would love for people to do it all the time, Meelz. Honestly, I really would. But I think that if it took this to wake people up and to end this shit, then to snap us out of this fucking trance that we've been in for 8 years, then so be it. You know, like
quick thing. Goldberg, he's gonna have his retirement match. Is
gotta
there
be cool.
anything? Is there anything you want to see? Is there anything you want to hear?
Got to be Gunther, bro. It's got to be. I don't care. What
Okay.
else? Gunther. Unless they go like crazy and do John Cena versus Goldberg.
I've also been hearing like, yo, might as well put John Cena in the world title match. Like, but I feel like that's like Booker, like indie Carney, not like wrestling Carney conjecture of like, hey, let's put them in the. John Cena should win the 16 championship at WrestleMania before he retires. I'm cool with John Cena not winning any more world championships, low key. I don't need him to beat Rick. I would like someone else to beat both of them, actually.
I think that John is gonna do whatever they tell him to do. And I'm gonna be real. I don't think he has any types of wants or desires for his own retirement, other than that, like he gets to go out there and wrestle.
Like, they probably just told him to retire.
Yeah, like,
And he's
well,
just like, all right, I'll do it. Yeah, yeah.
well, he's been saying for fucking years, right? That he's like, I don't got too much longer doing this. Like he's been saying, he's been kind of alluding to it for a while. So, if that's where he feels as though he wants to end it at, then I think that, I think that they won't have any issue if he says, I want the title. You know what I'm saying? Like I think he's earned that cachet.
Yeah, for
He said,
sure.
I've taken off a whole year for you guys. Give me the title one more time. Fuck The Rock. And I think honestly, fuck The Rock if that's the case. You know what I'm saying? Like, like he deserves to go out because he held the company on his back for a decade
Right.
and didn't complain about it. Um. So SmackDown, nothing happened on SmackDown for real. There was that promo that we already kind of talked about with the
It was
Bloodline.
Brooklyn Part 2.
Yeah,
Had a good Fatal 4-Way. A Fatal 4-Way so good. I was like, thank God it wasn't the other four.
yeah. One of the best women's matches of the year. I thought I saw you say that, and I gotta agree.
Pretty Deadly did something. That's always cool. I'd never want to see them on the release list.
Profits got a win. That was kind of
Uh,
it.
yeah, low key. That's kind of it.
Because it
Yeah,
was a show. I actually thought, and this is my theory on Raw. If you
bro.
were going to do 2 hour Raws, you should definitely have people from SmackDown come in to kind of give us some excitement a little bit.
Did you read the spoilers? Because I was like, low key, the only thing that's gonna make me even bother to tune in is if I don't read the spoilers.
I did not read the spoilers, and they were not readily kind of like available at that time. I had only seen one, and that's the EO won the battle royal, but I didn't see anything else.
Okay, all right, yeah. There's a ECW Cold Open for NXT. Oh, let me look at this.
Raw I thought was the strongest 2-hour Raw they've had since they started early last month. I thought that strangely a lot of people were on the show last night, if you can believe it. Like there was everyone, and if they weren't on the show, they had like little videos of them after the show that came out, like Finn and JD. Who I'm like, why were y'all in Saudi? Why were y'all there?
for
Why was
Raw, I guess. Yeah.
why was Braun there at all? It was so strange. But then he wasn't on TV at the time. Braun saying he needs a new challenger, but Braun said he's focused on the Speed Championship. So I'm like, I guess that's what niggas is doing for Raw, if because it's 2 hours and they don't have time for them yet, and it's Survivor Series build. Because to me, Raw was kind of like we're full speed ahead to Survivor Series at this point, which to me looks like. Or am I wilding here? That it might be a women's war games with like Liv in them and some heels versus Bianca and some baby faces if they choose to go that way.
I can't put heads or tails about this shit anymore, bro.
There's nothing else that makes sense, and Liv is the only like Liv needs a slew of people to kind of face right now. However, Bianca's not on Raw, so that wouldn't make sense.
Right.
So I mean, I guess obviously she has the EO stuff, and that could happen. But do they do EO versus Liv at? Because the thing is with War Games right now, Meelz, there will not be a War Games match that is bigger than the Bloodline one. So they should not do two if they don't have the the bill to do two right now, and they don't have the bill to do two War Games. They only have the bill to do one.
Right. I mean, I honestly, I know people will be upset if the women don't have one, but there ain't even really a reason for them to have one. Right?
Yeah, like you could do two women's title matches, and that would be fine.
Yeah. There's
Watch
not
us,
really a reason to have one.
watch us say you could have two women's title matches, and people would be mad about that.
Niggas is gonna be upset about anything.
Because realistically, you could do Nia, Naomi, and then you could do Liv and Io, which are two strong defenses for both women, and one of them could end up in a within new champion. Like Tiffy could cash in at that point, right? And that would be it. And then the other one could go the other way. Like I think that there are two avenues. You could just have two women's title matches. You could do Gunther, Damian. You could do Seth and Bronson doing something crazy, and then you could have that War Games match because it's the Bloodline. You know it's going to take like an hour for that match anyway.
Right. Yeah, I'm not really. Yeah, I don't think we need to this year. But
Also Cody KO. Like you could do all of those things on the show.
well, the build has been fantastic thus far for this bloodline thing, and it's the only thing kind of like running the show and kind of making the shows interesting. Um, so I support that. Again, Liv versus EO is just a great idea. Um, we're finally free of the Rhea Liv Matrix.
Spiral.
I don't know. Yeah, low
Or like
key, I'm gonna give it a buck. People might be mad at this. I don't think Rhea's the only way Rhea gets out of fuse is because she gets injured every so often.
yeah, she's kind of racking them up.
Yeah,
She's been getting injured a lot. It's kind of concerning. She's remains over, so I don't think that will harm her. But I don't think you should put the title on her for any stretch of time until she gets that like kind of figured out.
right.
Um,
And she don't even be wrestling like that. But I feel like she doesn't wrestle because she's like banged up, injured.
yep, because she's hurt. But I wonder from what. Well, she did have that weird. Remember when she was out for a really long time 2 years
She
ago?
had that heart thing, or it was
Yeah,
the brain thing, or it was a heart thing.
it was the brain thing. I think Dewdrop Piper had the heart thing.
But it was, I don't know. It's a little too many injuries, my friend. Like,
It's concerning. It's concerning. I don't want to like say I don't want to tag her with what I'm saying, something that she don't deserve, but it is concerning to see.
because
So
then we got to run the whole shit back.
well, I don't think
It-
I'm of the mind that she just should not win the title anymore. I just think that they just need to give that up. It's over.
well,
Like that.
I think Liv will not have the title by the time. Well, I don't know. They might switch it.
You think Liv won't have it?
Do I think Liv is going into WrestleMania with the title? Nah.
No, I don't think she. I think if anything, she loses it by Rumble to
Yeah.
real people that need the title. Like
Yeah.
whoever's really gonna be in the WrestleMania main events and stuff like that, they're gonna have it by February. I will say that like I don't get the hate for Liv a lot. Like I think that she is consistently proven herself to be one of the biggest heels on the female side, and like she gets reactions, which is a lot you can't say for a lot of people. Just be real. I think that Liv has always kind of like, even if she's not having like EO style matches, she's still giving you something serviceable. I think she just needed to get out of Rhea's orbit in order for people to see that. I mean, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at her going against EO. I think that's the best thing for her right now. It is legitimately the best route for her right now is EO.
I agree,
And it was
a good
great
use of EO.
It was a great battle royal too. I mean, they're starting to plant the seed. What did you feel about planting the seeds of dissension between Bianca and Jade?
I guess this is the way they have to lose the titles. It's two black women can't get along.
Oh, brother, here we go.
Two strong black women. Can it coexist in the same space, Triple H? Is that what we're saying?
It's time to transition them into more important things. I think you've been doing a lot with Bianca and Jade on that side, just kind of being tag team partners. Now it's time to like let's get real. Let's get real.
Yeah.
What else happened on the show? Oh, and also EO and Lyra continue to have great chemistry all around. They thought he did a great job in the final stretch of that match. What else here?
War Raiders are #1 contenders.
Yes. So they announced, Meelz, that the New Day are going to have a special episode of Raw in the near future.
Wow.
Are you scared?
Big death flags right there, man. Come on. This is one of them days, man. I don't know if there's any kind of like television equivalent, but if there's a death flag, this is it.
Yeah, niggas should be very afraid of that episode of Raw. They can't do that, right? They can do anything.
Yeah, they can do anything they want at this point. I don't know.
Or does E come back?
I'm hoping E comes back. It won't be New Day without E.
Yeah.
Get them stem cells juicing, bro. Start drinking some stem cell smoothies, bro. With some stem cell soap.
They said they never wanted to break up. What would cause them to do this storyline if not for him coming back?
Amen.
Just saying. Miz, your boy Miz, locked up in the Brooklyn basement.
I don't even know how that happened, bro. Like, come on.
Listen, you know how that happened, bro. You know how it fucking happened.
First of all, y'all said y'all had his back, and no one apparently has his back.
Nobody. You know why? Because he's come on, man. Foreclosures, man.
Foreclosures is funny.
The only niggas that get kidnapped is broke niggas, man.
Fuck out of here. What? Come on.
Only niggas getting kidnapped is broke niggas, man.
People kidnap rich people all the time. Because they hate what they can't be.
Hey, Madison Monroe, listen, if your daddy can't protect you, who can?
Y'all gonna bring back the old Miz. That's what y'all about to do.
Fuck out of here. Ain't no old.
You can hate me now.
Yo, what's old Miz, bro?
But I won't stop now. Yeah, you can hate me now.
Come on, man. I said when I saw him with the tape over his mouth, I said, "Oh man, he got kidnapped." What kind of nigga gets kidnapped?
Hey man, yeah, kidnapped, you become Baron Corbin, baby. It's one or the other. Miz still got a job. He been running years strong.
Niggas ain't supposed to be getting kidnapped, Meal. That ain't G, bro. Niggas ain't supposed to be getting kidnapped, bro. Like we got to do better than that, bro.
Fatal 4-way main event. It was a good main event.
It was a really good main event, man. I thought there were so many things at play. I liked the Bronson interference and everyone whooping his ass too. That was I was like, not very often do you see everyone be like, "What the fuck is this nigga doing here? Whoop his ass!" And everybody's his ass.
Shout to first of all, I like this 4 just together. It's kind of unconventional. I like the idea that maybe Sheamus could potentially win. You get Sheamus versus Gunther again. That was cool. Seth, who's kind of like lost it, but not even really like lost it. Well, he did really lose it actually, but like hasn't got the rematch for it. There's a story there. Of course, Dom has been trying to fish for a match. There's a story there, But Damian Priest, man, if there's a winner of 2024, if there's a star they've cemently created, it's Damian Priest.
Yeah.
This guy, he's a perennial world title contender, and that's pretty cool.
And they want to see him win. You know what I'm saying? Like they want to see him win, and he looked cool, man. He looked cool coming out of that, and Dom even did his thing, man. Like there was a lot given to him during this match, and I thought that even during the stretches where it was like he was hiding from Bronson, and then he comes out, like they know how to book Dom to get the maximum amount of heat from him, and Saudi was all over him all night.
I agree. No, this is perfect. So I'm looking forward to, I guess, Gunther. I low-key feel like
they should do it.
I don't know when. I was thinking Saturday nights, but they might do a rematch. Saturday night's main event is New York-esque. It's in Nassau, which is not really New York.
Yeah.
It's low-key the Trump country of New York, but along with Staten Island, along with White Plains, but it's I don't know, but to be fair, I think this is one of those. He's a Triple H guy through and through. You know what I'm saying? Like very clearly a Triple H guy.
Yeah,
this
and
is what it is.
He's like Cody, and a lot of those
Tell
guys.
Bobby got a problem with it. Tell him see him.
I think he's had Damian beat Bobby before too. Matter of fact, now that I think about it.
Let me see. Damian Priest versus Bobby Lashley. Probably. Priest.
He's beaten him before.
He's beaten a lot of people.
Yeah.
Damian Priest versus Bobby Lashley.
If not anything, Damian has always been somewhat protected. So like, I can see him. I could see Bobby being very upset. He's not able to beat Triple H's Golden Boy. But I think that was it for the show. I think that was it.
That's it. I mean, yeah, that's it for anything relevant that's been happening.
Oh no, I want to talk about the Gunther segment. The Gunther segment was very.
What happened? I think I missed it.
Gunther, she asked. I think Kathy Kelly asked about Cody and how he feels about it, and then Ludwig interrupts her and says like, "How dare you say that? Like don't talk to him about Cody." Da, 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 da. And then Gunther interrupts him and says, "No. Cody was the better man, and he deserved it, and I don't have any complaints about it." And he said that's the type, basically like that's the type of match that he wanted to have. And then from there, he says that he's looking forward to facing anybody that like he cuts a babyface promo basically, and then he says to Ludwig, like, you're supposed to take out Sheamus, like we got to be better, like all of us got to be better, stop losing and shit. And then Ludwig's kind of looking like this punk ass nigga, like, and like really upset about it. And I thought it was really interesting. It was a very interesting segment that I think foreshadows possibly some things that could happen in the next couple of weeks.
What do you think is going to happen?
I mean, the only way to turn Gunther face would be for him to be by himself, but I don't think it's a good idea to break him up from Ludwig though. But Ludwig seems like the bigger heel right now than Gunther is, right?
Yeah, but I don't know. Gunther's too raw to not be a face, man.
He
To
just
be a face, he's
be popping shit. That's what it is. Like we love Gunther because he pop his shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's really what it is. We got to keep him heel. We got to do that. Yeah. That's kind of it. Well, that might be it.
Yeah,
God damn.
I think that's it for the show. Again, I will not rest until these Raws go back to 3 hours.
Well, I will rest handsomely and be well rested for the following day with a 2-hour Raw. In fact, let's see. Yeah, there's nothing else. I don't really want to talk about AEW. Shout out to the War Report. Tune into them. Shout out to the Rewriters Room. Tune in for that.
Leave that to Quan and Cyrus. And of course, you can listen to them every single week at the expense of Cyrus's sanity at the War Report. And yeah, so for Meelz, I am Justin. If you're listening to this on Tuesday, what are you doing? Turn this off, or listen to it when you're in line, or listen to it.
Listen to it. Behind the old lady who's complaining about why these lines take so fucking long and why they got to do all this shit. And
let me tell you, the old lady is not complaining about that. The old lady is saying, "I used to not be able to do this."
No, not the old lady, not the old Caribbean people that live by me. Oh, they complaining about I have to go to work and I can't believe this line is taking so long and da 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 da. And then there's like the young hip, black young female voter who is just like, are they sure this is our district? And all this other stuff like that, making sure that her vote counts and doesn't get, things or anything like that. So do your part today. There's no wrestling, there's no sports, there's no excuses. Go out and vote.
And in the future, if we see you guys, be safe, be careful, and we did it. We did it. See you later.